Phoenix is rising, and so are we, everyone. Welcome into the PHNX Rising podcast. Oh, boy, we're coming to you guys on a Monday night. A little different time. Still got people in the chat. Appreciate everyone joining us. Again, it's myself, of course, Mr. Max Simpson. And, no Owen. He's still gone, thankfully. He's doing good work out across the pond, as they say. But I am joined by, of course, the one, the only Mr. Jake Tie Guy Anderson. How we doing?
I'm doing great. Just played FIFA. You didn't even touch the ball.
That's not
quit after I scored.
Okay, first off, that never happened because it's not on record. Second of all, I love how you lead off with that. Not the fact that you beat Statlacky Reese in PKs
with a broken controller.
Had a broken controller.
Yeah, but he touched the ball and scored. He Mourinho'd me for a good pass.
We played like 5 minutes of game time. That was it.
And you didn't touch the ball. I scored and you quit.
That's actually just not true. I very much touched the ball. It did go on your half.
Sorry. Your keeper touching the ball.
Yes. No, it did not.
For the corner.
That is not true. We progressed up the pitch. I went easy on him. I'm nice to my guests. I'm very accommodating. But yes, everyone in the chat, hit that like button. Make sure you guys keep it going. But appreciate everyone. It's fun, man. We have a lot to get into today. Right. I know last week's show was very much like, who are those irreplaceable players, guys we don't want to see it for, don't want Rising to lose. We very naturally understood, right, that a lot of them going on to greener pastures and all that stuff. And it really segues well into what we're going to talk about tonight, because Phoenix Rising announced 10 players so far that will be coming back for the 2024 season. That's not including anyone new. That's not including anyone else who will be, still returning to this team possibly. But right, we have a lot of great stuff. We're going to get into that a little bit later, kind of talk through, right, even just some different things of who, whose contracts have not been exercised, some who's expired, all those different things. But we will catch you up to speed on that. But Jake, we know, man, this is the time where teams really start coming together, and it's just exciting. It feels like this kind of came, I don't want to say out of nowhere, but I mean, we just finished a final and we're already back to it now, announcing players coming back. Let's go.
This is why it's my favorite sport in the world. The offseason is the quickest, especially if in United States case, you have playoffs, so you have that extra month if your team does make it all the way to make your offseason that much shorter. It's weird because every year this happens, it's bittersweet in my opinion, because you have one end, you have the guys who either aren't coming back because they played so well that they're going to have to move on to a bigger and better league. And being in second division United States, I think we all collectively are happy for guys like Kev, guys like Danny Trejo, who are going to be going on to greener pastures. But it is sad at the same time, because I'm not going to lie, there was one name that stood out to me on the declined. Their option, which means the team had the option to bring him back, already had him under contract, and said no. And that's Darnell King, man.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't get it. I mean, if he announces his retirement or something, maybe it'd make sense to me. To me, it's a lot like not bringing Landon Donovan to the 2014 World Cup. I don't care if he's gonna play half the minutes that he did this year.
Yeah.
That's a locker room guy, man.
Yeah, and I mean, listen, I know we'll get into it when we further break down the rosters, but I mean, right, like, that was very much the very evident surprise for me, is like, listen, we get it. Darnell King is a guy who his minutes have been declining, really just based on, right, you have it's a perfect storm of a very loaded outside back pool that Rising has on their roster, coupled with, right, Darnell King, just where he's at, very much. He'll give you 50, 60 minutes. Maybe can push a bit further of just solid play. But, right, they didn't really trot him out for a lot of those full 90s. And, whatever the situation was, no matter whether that was a mutual one way or the other, it is something that it's sad, because this guy has been such a part of this team for a while, seeing him lift the cup. And I guess while there was always a part of it, I guess just seeing it and written in the list that it is, it's just surprising still. It doesn't feel real.
Technically, there is a chance he could come back, right?
And this is the caveat. Yep.
You don't want to pay him what you agreed to,
Yep.
and you maybe want to give him less, but you still want him on the team. I know I'm blanking on the name right now, but Birmingham Legion with Nico Brett just did the same thing. They just technically cut him, but they are publicly trying to re-sign him, so that it's not 100% out of the picture. But yeah, it's one of those to where there's a chance he might not come back. And another name I should have mentioned this is, and it's just because it's the homegrown side of it. It's Niall Dunn. We never really got a chance to see him play.
Yeah.
He got injured, right? This is a kid that dropped out of Hamilton. He finished his high school diploma, but he dropped out of Hamilton so he could be a pro full time.
Oh yeah,
right? Be a full time pro of Phoenix Rising to train every single day. And then he got hurt, and we never really saw him get that chance. I was really hoping maybe we could see him in the preseason, but best of luck to Niall, and I hope to see him somewhere in the USL one day, maybe.
Yeah, man. It's gonna be interesting with these rosters. We have a lot to get into later, but there's a lot of soccer going on, right? A lot of Champions League that just happened, right? EPL's back, everything like that, and yet, Mr. Jake Anderson, you actually have a trip coming up. The floor is yours. We'd love to hear a little bit more about where you'll be going.
Yes, I will be heading to Columbus, Ohio this weekend. I will be attending the MLS Cup final. So I'll get to go to both the first division and second division finals. And
you actually posed the question. How many people do you think have gone to both this year? That's going to be quite a small fraternity, so to speak.
I'm trying to think of what would the reasoning be for an MLS person to go to the USL Cup final.
Chat, get a number as well. Would you venture a guess? Give me a number.
And if I had to guess a number, it's going to be, I could count them on my hand.
Okay.
Right? Like because think about it. My first thought is television. Well,
sure.
ESPN did USL and
sure.
Fox is doing MLS. Mm-hmm. So maybe that's the thing. It's such a, like, who went to Charleston? Yeah. Right? Not that many people went to Charleston.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm going for business. So I'm very, very excited, very much looking forward to that. I'm going to freeze. The game's at 4 p.m. local, 2 p.m. AZ time. I wish there were some former Rising guys in there, but all their runs collectively came up short. I did my research to see if anyone was there, but no.
Man, oh man, that's gonna be fun, man. Tis that time of the year. MLS Cup, all that stuff. Can I even venture to give you a winner? We usually don't predict this sort of thing. I'm gonna put you on the spot here.
Well, I don't know. I haven't looked too much in, but all I'm saying is, the last time I went to a final where the home team hosted and wore yellow, they lost in penalties. That's exactly what Columbus Crew is going to be doing on Saturday.
Oh, man.
Now, I don't know if LA is just going to wear their black, which would make sense.
Yeah.
But if they wear their whites, I'm just saying.
Okay.
LA's got history. LA's got experience. Columbus has that crowd. It's got the weather. I'm just hoping for a good game, honestly.
Okay. I like to see Damon in the chat. LAFC 3-1. I also got LAFC in this one. Listen, building a bit of a dynasty, dare I say? Did I say the D word? I might have said it.
A dynasty, as they would say across the pond.
Yes, they would have also crossed the pond. Owen is probably, if he is watching, he is absolutely going mad that we were talking about MLS on this podcast. Just a brief note before we get
2 a.m. over there, 1 a.m. over there.
Hey, knowing that guy, he might be watching. But hey, it's Jed, does Motar get both crowns if LAFC wins?
I think he does.
That's pretty cool.
Okay, maybe I have to shift over to LAFC.
Oh man, yeah, you might have to.
Just if Mo gets both.
Oh yeah,
I think he does technically.
Oh my gosh, man, that'll be absolutely crazy. Okay, we got LAFC in there. Should I like Reese? Would you like to venture a guess?
LAFC 2-1.
You got Should I like Reese said LAFC 2-1?
I've looked at the betting odds, and Columbus is slightly favored.
Of course, through our friends at BetMGM. Yes, absolutely. We'll see. A lot to get into. That'll be a fun trip for you. Let's see. Somebody asked Owen if he's going to watch. He said, no. Yeah, that's an Owen Evans response right there. If you are going to the MLS Cup, I want to recommend some delicious Four Peaks Brewing Company. And here's the thing, guys. I have to strain myself. Give me 1 second. Yep. Oh, boy.
Reese could have lifted that.
That's okay. He couldn't have. Yeah, that's right. Four Peaks Brewing Company. Here's the thing, guys. I've been telling you guys about this holiday advent calendar, and it's December. You can now crack open this bad boy. Here's the thing. like people have been slacking. We're going to do that. And we got 4 days worth to do. So we're going to start with number 1. Oh, yeah. What do we have here? We have a Copper Dange. Oh, this is a rye whiskey barrel beer.
That says Cooper. There's 2 O's.
Oh, well, we're already off to a great start. Not even drunk yet. Already can't read. Cooper. Oh, gosh, I said it again. Copper Dange.
It's Cooper.
It is Cooper. I said, dude, the double O is throwing me off. Anyway, it's the Brick and Barrel. It's their small batch, their rye whiskey barrel. It's where they literally have those whiskey barrels, brew their beer in there. Absolutely delicious. Here we go. Number 2. Hope I don't absolutely hurt my fingers. Must be 21 years or older to enjoy responsibly, or open the box because, yeah. Here we have
we
got
different types in here.
An
Nice.
Imperial Hazy IPA. That's just a cool design there. Here we go. Number... Where's the 3? Haha. Oh. It's okay. We're not for aesthetics. We're for opening. We got the Double Pumpkin Porter, a favorite, absolutely. And it is December 4th, so we got to open number 4. Oh, boy. This is a medium for sure if you're listening on audio. Oh, this one's kind of deep in there as I'm literally, my whole arm gets sucked in. A Redbird Lager. Yes, of course. Cardinals win, by the way.
Go Birds.
Different football. Still winners.
Technically, they are a football club, Arizona Cardinals Football Club.
All right. Well, yes, there you go, guys. You can see that we have a good handful of just delicious varieties here. You guys can get your hands on them in, again, 4 Peaks, their holiday advent calendar box. Super fun. Absolutely. Check them out. Again, you can get them at 4 Peaks Pub off of 8th Street, their 8th Street Pub. And yeah, make sure you enjoy responsibly. You must be 21 years or older to enjoy responsibly. You can get 4 Peaks, not the advent calendar box, of course, but you can get 4 Peaks at friends at Circle K. Friends at Circle K, listen, you guys see on screen there, enjoy the Inner Circle rewards. They have something really fun. They have the 31 days of giving. You can literally, every single day, you can log into the Inner Circle app, which all you need, again, is a phone number. And you can literally play their game where you literally scratch off a little, fun little card. You can win. I literally, on the first day, on December 1st, I want a free bag of candy because you can just do that. And every single entry gets you into the grand prizes. It's gift cards. It's all a bunch of fun things. Literally free to do. Completely free. All you got to do, download that Inner Circle app. Again, it's a Circle K app. And then just enter in your phone number. Join that Inner Circle. You get free discounts on gas, on food, free Polar Pops, all these great things. Again, super easy to do. And yeah, man, thank me later. Okay, so kind of set the stage a bit. I know we already kind of got a little into it with some of these guys who, we're not going to say they're completely written off, but at least it was not exercised. But before we even get into that, we got to talk about some of the guys who their contracts, right? There are a couple guys who were either under contract or on loan for Phoenix Rising, and their contract expired. We got a graphic for you. Let's talk through a couple of these guys, right? Some of them very much were on our list of we're going into last week, right? Those guys who are irreplaceable, that they got to be on there. Again, in order from it positionally, we got Patrick Rakowski, Rocco Rios Novo, the 2 goalkeepers. Again, Rocco was on loan, so those contracts expired. On the defenders, we have Alejandro Fuenmayor. As we said, Mo Traore on loan. They were not. Those were both on expiring contracts. In the midfield, Emi Cuejo, clutch Cuejo. He's not, his was expired. And then again, Danny Trejo, Darius Formella on that forward line. Again, literally every single guy, sans Patrick Rakowski, was a bona fide either starter for this team or a very, very key role player. All contracts of those were expired. There's a lot of star power in there, man.
Yeah, I think there's the loans that you knew were going to be over, and then there's Danny, who I think halfway through the season you knew was probably not going to come back.
Yeah.
So I think now we come down to 3 names, and that's Rakowski, Fuenmayor, and Cuejo. Mm-hmm. Rakowski was the backup keeper. Yeah. We honestly didn't see that much of him. Mm-hmm. We all know we would love to get Rocco back.
Yeah.
From my understanding, his contract is up with his team. Mm-hmm. But again, that means any team in the world can get his hands on. So it's like Rising could be competing with other teams that they potentially might not be able to.
Yeah.
Which would then be a good thing for Rocco moving up. He just got called up to the under-23s for Argentina. Mm-hmm. I mean, this kid's good. Good.
He's good. Some are saying Phoenix Rising, a global football club. They have already been traveling. Phoenix Rising, as we talked about, they've been in Italy. They went to Anfield? Oh god. But yeah, they're everywhere now. Let's go.
Oh, they're a global team, and they've been to Turkey technically.
Mm-hmm.
They've been everywhere. But for the other two names, Sotomayor and Cuello, Sotomayor was on my list just because he led the team in minutes.
Yeah.
Again, they could be trying to renegotiate, and he might be trying to move up as well. It's one of those to where your good players are going to take the opportunity if they can.
Mm-hmm.
So now you're kind of in a hiatus because you don't know what sure. But Cuello's an interesting one because does the team want him back? I had a conversation with someone about this. I don't think you find quality of Cuello in a backup anywhere else because he can start in this league. The question is, does he want to new team, new coach, new system?
Yep.
Do you think that he would rather stay with Juan, stay with the system that he knows he can succeed in and convince him to battle out for playing time? Or does he take an easier route and go get the guaranteed starting 11?
Yeah. It'll be interesting. I mean, right, that's why I had Cuello, again, he was number 10 on my list last week of irreplaceable players. It's going to be a tough one, right? I mean, saw Siley in the chat, right? Seeing this, it's like ripping my heart out. Thomas in the chat, if we pick up Cuello and Formella, I think that's an absolutely perfect roster to add pieces to. I mean, listen, this is the interesting one. These guys, you're talking about Cuello, talking about Formella. These guys both very dynamic players who they had a role at times, right? They've had anywhere from starting opportunities with this team to very added minutes. But especially, right, Formella, he was a midseason acquisition. Cuello was kind of on and off in terms of his playing time, both
injured
due to injury, a big part of it too. It'll be very interesting. I think that these guys both give you a lot. They give you a couple things, right? They give you can see both of them, a bona fide goal scoring option, especially in clutch moments with Cuello. Formella, of course, had his goal against San Diego, and Loyals in the box, in the playoffs. Then, of course, they give you both position versatility. Cuello can play on that outside back. He can play in center mid. Formella can give you a bit of that outside back shot, even though we don't really like that. Or you can put him up top in his more natural position. They work really well with this, and especially with a lot of the other guys coming back, a lot of chemistry there. It will be interesting just because, I mean, right, this is that expired contracts category. We'll have to see. But again, kind of rounding it out, right, a couple of these guys, it's not a surprise just not seeing them back. They're on to bigger and better things with, of course, that headliner, Danny Trejo.
I will say this about Formella.
Yeah.
Was not originally included on the entire press release, right? His name was not in the cut, in the signing, negotiating, none of it. Which tells me, at least in my opinion, I think they are talking.
Sure.
I think there's renegotiating happening, and because he's an international, other stuff has to get through before they can officially pass everything through USL.
Sure.
But I think that bodes well for Formella coming back.
You kind of see it in a guy who we will be talking about in a little bit here that, he was not made as a midseason acquisition. You'd think just as a short-term rental, if that's what it came to. Okay, sure. But I feel that this team and the guys who are being brought in last season and everything like that, sure, not everyone's going to work. But again, we said during last offseason, this team is going to be made in Juan Guerra's image. And that doesn't just happen realistically for a season or for a half season. You're bringing in guys to hopefully, if they turn out to be the guy who you expect them to be and they play as such, you bring them back. So hoping those conversations happening, we'll have to see.
Yeah, with Formella, when he came here, obviously, my first thought was, I don't know much about him, but obviously he was one of Juan's guys. He's coming over from Oakland. And then we heard Juan tell us, the stuff that we saw him do against San Diego specifically.
Oh, yeah.
He does that every day in training. Rakowski walked past him, and he was like, Pat, how often does Darsh do that to you in training? And he's like, every training day. So we know the skill. I think it's going back to that list of everyone that left. I think Formella is a guy that they need to bring back, especially if you're going to lose Danny. I think if you can have Manu and Darsh come back, I think you've kind of recreated that.
We'll see. Again, this is where we're caveating everything, right? Where this is what we know so far. It doesn't mean that moves can't happen. We've seen this before. It does, however, with this next category, again, doesn't mean things can't happen. You kind of alluded to it earlier in the show, talking about Darnell and those chance for perhaps maybe something negotiated, but these were the groups of players who, right, the team took a look at it, and then you had those non-exercise players. We have a graphic there, right? It is Uzo, got Niall Dunn, Darnell King, and young buck Carlos Anguiano. You know, a mixed bag here. I mean, Uzo, right? Very much a guy who, when he was playing, especially early on the season, seemed to have a lot of momentum. Injuries, as we so often said for that outside back position, just bit him and just wasn't really able to lock down that starting spot back. He was really, though, one of their key guys and really the first guy they seem to turn to a lot of that time when you're subbing in for that position. You know, again, Darnell King, what more can you say? You've already said a lot at the beginning, but just an absolute rock star stud on that. Now done. Just a guy we just didn't like. There's so much promise. This guy you talked about for a while, and just didn't really see it. It was interesting, right? I mean, previous regime in a way. I know, you know, some carryover there, but there's that. And then Carlos Anguiano, again, saw some flashes. I think it was something where just depends on the right situation. I mean, we saw him starting a bit early in the year. Definitely had some moments, but I think a lot of it was right. It's not that we don't think he's a good player or anything like that. It's just, it was a very different level for him, I think, than when you have a lot of the other guys he was paired with in midfield.
Right. And it's one of those, like, look at the guys. It's something we talked about all the time with super subs. It's like, okay, if you want to start him, who are you going to take out?
Oh, yeah.
Now we're even going one further ring where it's, he can't get that much time. Who are you gonna take out in front of him from the subs perspective? Like you literally, like you just said, it's battling for playing time, and you get the occasional game. But for him too, he can go somewhere he can actually get on the field as well. And who knows? Maybe you find your way back. That wouldn't be the first time someone's done that either. So I mean, if you were recognized to have talent by a coach at one point in time, that might come to fruition eventually for you, and you could reunite with that coach later on in your career.
Yeah, seen Mike in the chat pour some out for my boy Carlitos. I mean, you know, right? There's definitely it's a weird thing with all of these guys, right? Where you're having to evaluate as a coaching staff. You knew some of the, you know, a lot of these guys were in from a prior regime. You knew you're balancing as well some guys who you brought in, who you're trying to see just what it looks out to. And I think it's tough because you want to keep on building that continuity, but you also understand in order to win a championship, you need to consistently be involving, and you can't just rest on your laurels and continue to run it back with the same guys. And I would say, while you want to bring back that core, which they did, and I know we'll get to in a second, you need to really just be up to that standard, especially when you're defending. Because not only are you now going after a championship like you are any other season, but people now know, okay, this is how this team likes to play. There's these players here. You need to keep on bringing in new blood in order to kind of raise that standard, right? And I think that's where, as a coaching staff, you're trying to strike this balance of who you bring in, who are you saying, hey, maybe we keep those conversations going, and then guys where, hey, we appreciate it, your time with the club, but whether it's the club, whether it's the player, whether it's a bit of both, go their separate ways.
It's unfortunately just the ruthlessness of the business of sport, right? Yeah. It's eventually, and it isn't just football. It's literally every single sport. Whoever the guy is that's getting let go, it sucks. From the fans' perspective, from the player, the team perspective. I mean, you build a relationship. You love a guy. Like we look at Darnell, for example. Like, he's a fan favorite. Yeah. Right. And I guess this is where it's a little like you in a storybook ending, you'd get that send off, right? You get that. I think of like Derek Jeter when he had a whole year to retire, right? And guys who do that, it's like Darnell, he plays his last game here. Yeah. And then plays, 5 more, right? Because the last game of the season was on the road. Yeah. So then you go play 5 more games with the shirt. You got to celebrate with the fans, don't get me wrong.
Last 2 on the road. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
A lot of games on the road, right? The whole playoffs and some regular season. He doesn't get that goodbye. Yeah. He doesn't get that send-off. Kev Lambert didn't get it. Mm-hmm. Solomon Asante didn't get it. Mm-hmm. Now Solo got his this year, right?
That's a tough part, man.
But that's my whole point with the whole thing is it's just like, is there a way? Is there a way, right? There is no way. And it's kind of the bittersweet reality of you want to say goodbye and you want to say thank you for everything you've done for the club, but that opportunity doesn't really present itself via match days. Yeah. Right? So it's one of those to where you don't truly get to say goodbye, and it kind of just leaves you kind of empty right there.
Yeah. I mean, you're spot on, man. I'm silently saying in the chat, that part sucks. That part absolutely sucks. Right, Damien, that asked the question as well. Unless he's retiring from playing, we did see.
I felt like he would announce that.
I thought so, right? I mean, you saw Daniel Crutzen did announce that he was retiring, and then that was kind of that. I feel Darnell. If you never know, maybe he still needs time to think it over, whatever it is. But I feel that's a good hunch that if he was retiring, I would imagine he would have said something from now, but. We'll see. Albert, right? Turnover is part of the game. No team stays the same from year to year for good or not. Yeah, man. It's interesting. I mean, especially, right, I think with Darnell, and again, we said it last week, said it again. You're curious if the conversations are going, but either way, it's goodness. You just got to appreciate the guy.
Personally, for me, I'll tell a little personal story.
Please.
My niece just turned 14.
Yeah.
She's playing on the 09 ECNL for Phoenix Rising, and this girl does not do anything but play soccer. When we're not playing soccer, she wants to play more soccer. Darnell actually coached her individually with like 8 or 9 other girls, but it was the fact that like my niece was getting one-on-one training from Darnell, and Darnell is the same dude throughout. Like, whether he's with you personally, 1-on-1, whether he's on camera, whether he's training. I mean, he's hard on him.
Yeah.
But he's a pro. So personally, for me, this one kind of hurts just because the relationship that, Darnell being here for so long, how much time we get to spend with the players as media, and then the relationship he had with my niece. He actually had, that's her favorite player, and I had to tell her last night at dinner, like, hey, Darnell's probably not coming back, And this is how long? This is what, 3 weeks after winning a title?
I know. That's the crazy part.
That's
it
the crazy
happens
part.
so darn quickly. And again, they're already back to we're pouring for preseason month away or so.
January 15th.
Goodness gracious, it's literally 5 weeks or so. My word, time flies, man. Time absolutely flies. Well, guys, we outlined people who. I'm not trying to be definitive. I'm not trying to also play speculation, but right. At the current standing, they are not on Phoenix Rising as of this moment. However, we do have 10 folks who are on Phoenix Rising who will be returning for the 2024 season. Erickson Gallardo. Jake, I ask you, there was a lot of guys on here who we thought that they were going to be returning. Who are you most like, yes, that makes sense, absolutely, boom? And then conversely, who are you most surprised about?
To me, this is simple. Panos.
Mm-hmm.
We knew Panos was coming back, if we're being completely honest, so I'll give you a second answer, and that's Stenberg. Didn't know if he was for sure.
Okay.
My biggest surprise, but maybe for other reasons it's not, is Fede. On one hand, I don't know how much they're paying him, but obviously he was a big acquisition last offseason. We had monumental expectations. Panos ended up kind of being who we thought Fede was going to be.
Sure.
So I don't know if they had signed him to multiple years and he was coming back anyway, but he didn't really seem to find his way into the team. If Fede can be who we thought he was going to be, and now you have him and Panos and Carlos and Jose Andres Hernandez, and now we're out of positions in the midfield because there's too many good players. And that's a good problem to have, good competition, injury depth. Depth is the name of the game, obviously, for a season that's this long. Long-winded answer, but there you go.
I appreciate it, Matt. No, it's interesting. You see a lot of those guys. Coming back. Gosh, Chad, you are something. You are something, especially those of you who are in this room. But yes, it's interesting, right? There's a lot of players you see on that list. You kind of like see, hey, there's definitely a spot on this team, and everything has to work out, right? In terms of position of need. Someone who the club feels like they're going to really take an interest and investment in coming back. And that, I guess in a weird way to say, that they're at the level of this league, for rightly or wrongly. And that's, I say that as a compliment. And I say that as there's some people on this list. I'm very surprised that they came back because I thought there's bigger opportunities. For me, I'm very surprised that Carlos Harvey came back, in the sense of I think it's a great fit for Rising. I'm absolutely happy he did. But I think you look at how this guy plays, you look at the sizing too. Listen, whether it's MLS or something, I'm just kind of surprised that like it was just quick too. It's not like it's up for negotiations. It's like boom, one of that initial 10, and here we go.
I want to say I know they're different players to a degree. I want to kind of compare Carlos with Kev in terms of, because I'm shocked too. I didn't think he was coming back because I thought he was going to go somewhere else.
Oh, sure.
But why did Kev stay here so long? Not because he didn't want to be here. Just no one gave him that chance until RSL finally did.
Sure.
And it's like, well, what's Kev not have? Kev can play defense. He can play in the mid.
Of course.
He plays for Jamaica. Carlos plays for Panama.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just kind of like, okay.
Timing is everything, man.
Right. And you need the right coaches at the right time and the right opportunity to all be together. But one thing you just nailed on the head. Carlos is, he's massive. He's strong. He's fast. That is the MLS blueprint of a midfielder, especially a box-to-box midfielder like him. He will be able to handle any league, even if he wants to try to maybe go overseas, try to go to Europe and play in, I don't know, a League 2, a League 1 in England. That's kind of the area where USL compares to. We've seen defenders do that. But we've seen them come back from League 1, like a Corey Whelan. And my God, was he the best defender in the league that year. Anyway, I think it's a good, not good, it's a great signing for Phoenix. But as we all know, if a team ever comes knocking for a player, you're going to have to find a replacement for him soon. I think that's where the depth comes in terms of maybe the likes of a Carlos get sold potentially this year, just like we saw Kev.
Oh, yeah. Oh, very much so. Well, and we actually have, shout out to Statlacky Reese. He did pull some stats for us. Let's see. So we have Carlos Harvey total, total duels per 90, 13.71, Statlacky. That's awfully high. Does that make sense? Or is it the 7 number?
What's the
as
stat?
He's looking. You have successful duels and then total per 90. Yeah. So he has 7.67. I understand. So what's the second number then? Then what's the first number? Okay, I see.
So he wins and out of how many?
Gotcha. So yeah, this is fair. Carlos Harvey seems to get every duel. So thank you for the clarification, Statlacky Reese. Really presented it super well in this document. But 7.67 duels won out of a 13.71. That's second most won on Rising, 22nd in the league. So purely just from a duel standpoint, the man is winning quite a lot. And here's the other thing, right? It's that box-to-box midfielder, successful dribbles per 90. It's 1.98 successful dribbles out of 3.58. I mean, listen, I'm no mathematician. That's what, like almost 66% right there. That's third most successful on Rising, 22nd in the league. Good numbers on both of those box-to-box aspect. Okay. Going back, honestly, to the defenders, if we actually take a look at that graphic one more time, right? Eddie Manjoma, John Stenberg. We're looking at these defenders. We're kind of going position by position here. Interceptions for Eddie Manjoma, 0.99 per match. Most from any of the Rising wingbacks. I mean, you look at how many guys, right, that played that position. Eddie Manjoma, guy who, when he came back, really seemed to solidify that spot opposite of Darnell King. 0.99, that's essentially 1 interception per match, most by Rising wingbacks who they had to track back often, but they weren't always necessarily in the mixer of where the action was, especially having to get forward. That's quite impressive.
Yeah, I think we've seen how important that wingback position is for Wongeta, and that's why I love seeing. Why am I blanking on his name? I had him in the list. Gabby Torres.
Yeah.
That's why I love seeing Gabby coming back. Yeah. Right, he's been with Juan this is going to be his 3rd year now. Right, so his 3rd season with Juan. He was before he got injured. What was it? He had 6 assists in like 16 games or something like that. Like the percentage of it was so much higher than everybody else, and you wonder what it would have been if he could have played a full season.
Yeah. Sorry, it just occurred to me. Unless I'm like completely blanking on something, and again, chat knows I am prone to blanking on something, is Gabby Torres now the longest retained Rising player? Darnell King, not there. Kev Lambert,
have not
there.
Thought
I'm not talking about total. I'm not talking about history. I mean, like currently on the team.
No.
He has been with the Rising for the longest.
Current longest tenured player. Yeah.
I might need a Statlacky confirmation, but I got a nod. That's pretty wild.
There is nobody.
There we go. Okay.
Wow.
Well, again, Eddie Manjoma joins that list along with Gabby Torres, who we'll get into in a second. We have John Stenberg as well. This is kind of crazy. Clearances per 90, 4.38. Highest on Rising. Duels, 1.81 duels out of 2.5. 5th most on Rising. Again, this is a guy who he was acquired midseason and just continues to crush it. I'm happy he came back as well.
Technically, they acquired him.
I mean, it was early. Early, and then he
didn't come.
Yes,
yeah.
So, I mean, technically, did they acquire him in season? No, but he didn't play.
We're getting
till
technical.
mid-season.
If we're getting technical, he was not eligible for the Transaction of the Year award. I'm just saying.
Here we go.
I'm just saying.
That's true. Hey, but you're not. Listen, Phoenix Rising Nation, you're not going to say any John Stenberg slander. Edward's going to hop in here and go nuts. Let's take a look at the midfielders, right? A lot of guys in here just making an absolute difference, right? Panos, again, we just gushed about him last time. What more can you say about the guy? Carlos Harvey, Jose Andres Hernandez, Gabby Torres, Fede Varela, Renzo Zambrano. Couple just stats on these guys that I thought were very noteworthy. And then, Jake, please feel free to elaborate, stop me on any of these. Panos and Armanakas, first off, chances created. This does include his time with Loudoun, who are a much more inept team than Phoenix Rising is. We'll say it exactly what it is. Look at the standings. Read a book. 2.2 chances created per 90. 8th in the entire league. That man's coming back. He is the fulcrum of Phoenix Rising for next year. Carlos Harvey, again, we already gushed about it. Box to box. He is top 25 in the league in categories of successful duels and successful dribbles. What more can you say about the guy? Jose Andres Hernandez, successful passes. Literally all this dude did was successful passes. Average per match, 53 completed passes out of a possible 58. That's like, what is that, like high 80s, low 90s? I'm not a mathematician. That's pretty darn good. 4th most complete on Rising, most in the midfield. Again, usually you're seeing Rocco in the back line up there. The fact that a midfielder's up there, pretty darn impressive. Gabby Torres, right? Interceptions, tied for 12th in the league with almost 2 per 90. There you go. Assist, highest rated in the league, 0.64 per match, 0.16 higher than the next person. Successful duels, right? 8.64 out of 14.24. Most on Rising. 10th most won in the league. These guys are literally stacking up on a total aspect. Absolutely impressive. Again, Gabby Torres, just that box-to-box aspect as well. Fede Varela, this is something that actually kind of surprised me. 1.58 chances created per 90 minutes. 3rd highest rate on Phoenix Rising. It's the most from the left-hand side. This was a guy who we said, right, brought in to be that hopefully traditional number 10 role early in the season. Didn't really pan out quite that way. So a lot of people say maybe didn't live up to expectations. This is a second chance. You think he has those tools, that potential. See if it comes together. And then finally, the last guy in that midfield. Recoveries. 7 recoveries for Renzo Zambrano. It's 3rd on Rising. Most in the midfield trio. Interceptions per 90. 3rd on Rising. Most in the midfield. The guy literally is, call him the janitor because the man cleans up.
No, dude, I was just about to say, I didn't realize until I really started looking into how many minutes, how many matches, talking about Renzo Zambrano. I mean, the penalty shootout. Mm-hmm. Like, this dude, maybe it's just because he doesn't necessarily have the flair that some of the other guys on this midfield have, right? Like Panos, Carlos, like, you just notice those guys on the field.
Yeah. But
Carlos, like you just said, man, he does all the dirty work. He doesn't even start necessarily every game.
Yeah.
But right, he when I saw his name on the returning list, like it actually brought a smile to my face because it was like, there's your depth.
Yep.
Right? If Carlos gets hurt, if Carlos is on international duty, if Carlos gets sold, like they're very like for like.
Oh yeah.
Right? And you look at the list, like Fede and Panos, like for like. Carlos and Renzo, like for like. I'm not gonna say Jose and Gabby are like for like. You get my point with it's only 6 midfielders. They're going to get more.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Right? I mean, it's an old cliche, but like you win the midfield battle, you're going to win the game. Just look at who they've signed. That's what they care about is the midfield. Like they'll figure everything else around it. I think I'm really excited for this year. I know this is a defending title run that they're about to go on, but knowing what Juan wants to do, knowing that this is going to be his 2nd full season, his 3rd off season, right? Yeah. So I'm excited to see who they bring in and the absolute battle that the playing time is going to be for some of these guys, because that's going to be interesting to guess the starting 11 come match day 1.
Absolutely. And that brings us to the last guys on this list is the forwards, right? I see people in the chat talking about captains vying for different captains. Listen, we got a guy, vice captain, coming back in. Manuel Arteaga, and then Erickson Gallardo. First stat on Manu Arteaga that I found very fascinating, that I'm waiting for a certain Mr. Mikey Vanderplas to perhaps jump in here a bit. The most XG per 90 on this entire team last year, 0.43. Most on Rising. Again, XG per 90, 0.43, most on Rising. And then again, shots on target and total shots per 90 minutes, 1.12 shots on target, 2.96 total shots per 90, almost 3 shots per 90. Both of them most on Rising. Listen, Manu Arteaga, the man shoots, the man has a high XG, needs maybe a bit more clinical, like we said earlier in the season, but the dude had his spurts, and when those spurts were going, that man was good. We want to see more of that. He returns. Erickson Gallardo. Listen, this is kind of like, to me, the wild card of this list. And maybe there are others on there, but he's an interesting one to me. Him and Fede, right? But I think especially Erickson, you saw just so much speed, and yet the way that they want him to play very much is on that end line, being kind of crafty, and getting in those crosses, right? 2.17 crosses per 90, successful crosses, 5th most in the league. But as he says, he does miss a good handful of them. And then here's the other thing, assists, 0.45 assists per 90. Essentially, that's an assist every other match, tied for 3rd in the league. When the man plays, he has made a difference in the facilitating aspect. I'm curious to see what that looks like.
To finish that sentiment, the first thing I think of is you got to have someone finish to have an assist, right? And then going back to what you were just saying to Michael, that's going to be his argument back is, well, if he was expected to have the most goals and had the most shots and all this, why didn't he?
Well, I'm seeing Albert in defense of Michael. Come on, Max. The saying is an SG and shots change games. That's a fair point. That's a very fair point.
Right, but it's one of those now to where I think Manu and Formella, I want to see them start together. I want to see what that's like. I want to see, can Panos, I mean, we're going like 2005, right? The double strikers, and then you have the number 10 underneath, right? I want to see it because Panos said as soon as he arrived that he reached out to Danny after watching him on film and was like, yo, like, I'm gonna set you up this year, man. Like he knew, and it did. It worked out to perfection. So I'm hoping you get that. You get Gallardo. You get Gabi Torres. You get Eddie. Like you can get the width, the creation, the midfield. I think it can work. You're gonna miss that speed from Trejo unless they can go get another forward, right? You're not gonna have.
Can they clone Danny Trejo?
It was when we saw the teams like Memphis play the high line, right? And it was just like, what are you doing? Like Danny Trejo's on this team. You want to play a high line in Phoenix against Danny Trejo? Good luck. And you're going to lose 6-0.
Yeah.
So that they'll miss. But again, Gallardo's got pace.
Yeah.
Not everyone can finish like Danny.
Yeah.
But maybe they bring in someone who's got pace and maybe not quite the finishing skill as Danny, but a little bit of pace, a little bit on the outside. Ooh. And they have 2 forwards right now, so they're definitely going to sign more. Not including Formella, hopefully.
We'll see. I mean, I'm seeing Siley in the chat. Manu playing a total of 110 minutes during playoffs. Stylaki Siley. Whoa, coming for your job, Stylaki Reese. But yes, that's a stat right there. I mean, listen, it's going to be interesting how he comes back. I think, right, you wanted some continuity, some holdover from last season. I get it. Listen, losing Danny Trejo, no matter how you bring it up, again, for all intents and purposes, moving on to bigger and better things. I'm happy Arteaga's coming back. You want someone who knows how this team plays, and we go from there. Siley does correct herself, 111 total minutes per the playoffs. But yeah, it's going to be interesting how they work in, because I think you want someone who knows how to play this style of play, especially seeing who he gets paired up with. I like it.
Another thing too about Trejo, A, former LAFC player, but B, let's remember, and I spoke about this with him at the trophy celebration. He didn't play his preferred position like all year. And I was the number one person saying, get him out of the middle. Yeah. I was saying, get him back on the wing, get him on the outside. Juan didn't listen to me, obviously, and it worked. But even Danny was very proud of himself. He was like, yeah, man, I had never had to have, he played a second 9. He played a 9, and he's not a 9. Like, he's not big enough.
Oh no.
Right? Like
he's not your out and out number 9.
Correct.
No.
Correct. He's He's more Sergio Aguero than he is Erling Haaland, right? Like, right?
That's a comparison,
right?
Yes,
but that's what we're talking about here. So
Spurs drew. Let's go.
All the credit to Danny and everything that he accomplished this year, and playing out of position, and everything that he brought to Phoenix and helped him win a title, and now we got to replace him.
Oh boy.
And it's I don't even know if it's possible at the same level. You're gonna take a step down. You're gonna have to, because you go from the title and the number 1 goal scorer and assist leader combined in USL. I mean, they don't grow on trees. They literally leave the league. So, and Aaron Malloy's not available, obviously, because he just went to Charleston. That's scary for Charleston Battery. Their midfield is stacked. But to end this rant, it's the yin and yang, man. You have such a good season, your best players are going to leave, and now you got to refill them, and that's where you see different champions every year, because it's so freaking hard to repeat. It's so hard to be good all the time.
Oh man, yeah, it's gotta love it, man. It's just a fun roster creation. It's taking a bunch of people, bring them all together, and having a good time. And that's exactly what our friends at OG's Brands did, because they brought a lot of different delicious flavors together, and you're having a good time after you get your hands on them. They got the fruits, the creams, whether it's the indica, sativa. They have new flavors. Oh my gosh, all these different types of things. Check out ogsbrands.com. Y'all missed the promo. If you missed the promo, what you doing? They should be having more soon, but for now, it's a great stocking stuffer if you are over 21. If the person you're giving it to is over 21, to get your hands on one and have a great time during this holiday season, check out ogsbrands.com. Okay, you can find them at a local dispensary near you. Again, going to their website, ogsbrands.com. They're on all the socials at ogsbrands, and you must be 21 years or older to enjoy responsibly. Okay, we have a little, not just Phoenix Rising playing in beautiful state of Arizona, but we got some news. Got some international news. The Copa America is coming back. It is coming. I mean, I guess to the greater Phoenix area in Glendale, but it is there. So in the summertime of 2020-24, we already have the games of knowing when they are. So you have Friday, June 28th, and then Sunday, June 30th is going to host a pair of those group stage matches. Again, 1 day apart. Okay. So first one, it's going to be in a group that features Brazil. It will not be Brazil, but it's the ones in there. The second one, that is Mexico's group, and Mexico will be featured in that Sunday matchup, if I'm reading this graphic correctly. Big caveat there. But yes, 2 games within the span of 3 days. Again, June 28th. June 28th, June 30th. It's going to be a great time. And then, right, you then go into the quarterfinals. They do host the winner of Group A and the winner of Group B as well. Quarterfinal will be on Saturday, July 6th. That's awesome. I'm doing my math right. That's, what is that? 3 matches in the span of a week? Pretty cool.
We're going to be doing another drawing like we did for the Women's World Cup. We got the Euros this summer as well.
Oh, wait. What's that? You want to be? Oh, yeah. Goodness. Twist my arm. I think we can make that happen. I think we can absolutely make that happen. Yeah. We're going to have some fun with Copa, of course. As you guys know, of course, become a diehard. That's going to happen. A little bonus drawing for the diehards out there. But yes, it's going to be a lot happening. We will see what happens. But more teams to be announced, all that stuff. I'm just happy that it's coming here. I always love when the international tournaments come up. No, it's definitely not coming.
Hold on. In order for it to come home, it would have had to have been there, right? England's never won the Euros. So
it's true. That's true.
Sorry.
That's true. It's true. The group
defend our title. We're in a tournament again.
Oh gosh. No, North Macedonia for you, sir. But yeah,
finally beat him in the qualifying. It took 3 times.
Amen. They get you. But no, it's gonna be fun. I always love. Right. I will say something about. I almost forgot. Wow, the ad man almost forgot what the sponsor was. No free ads, but it's just a technical term. State Farm Stadium. It is always a very nice venue for these, soccer tournaments, especially the big ones like a Copa. I mean, what was the last? Correct me if I'm wrong. Was the last one that was there? Was that the USA Argentina match where Messi just put it top bins against Brad Guzan, the last Copa America match in the stadium? It might have been that one, if I'm not mistaken.
It was a long time
because that was a freaking barn burn. That was we're all having quizzical looks on our face. I think that was 2016.
I'm pretty sure it's 2016.
2016. Yeah. That might have been the last one in during the Copa in in
this one.
Yes,
this game was in Houston.
What?
That's where NRG Stadium is
located.
No
way, dude. That was the one. No.
Here, the reason why
no way.
I would have remembered if the game was in my backyard. I would have gone.
No way, dude. What am I thinking?
I would have gone.
It was a third place game that was here.
What?
Yeah, US was in the third place game.
Why do I so vividly remember that being here? Well, you know why? Retractable roof and a dome. My bad, guys. Happens to the best of us. Oh man, but anyway, that absolute horrible tangent aside, it will be nice to have it back here. We'll see. I mean, I think again, there's a lot of U.S. fans in this chat and who listen to the show. It'll be very interesting.
I went to the third place game.
You did go to the third place game?
Yeah, I remember this game.
It was Colombia, U.S. Yeah, it'll be interesting.
Colombia.
I went there, buddy. Listen, I know. They actually have that on a shirt, by the way. It's like says it's Colombia, not Colombia.
You couldn't read Cooper 5 minutes ago. Kept saying copper.
In Max's defense, it is copper. Like the color of it is copper.
But it says Cooper.
And like the color is copper. And being someone who is dyslexic,
right? It's like
I feel you.
It's like if something was. It's like if it said green, but it's in red.
Words are hard. Yeah. No. Anyway, it's gonna be very nice seeing Copa America back. I mean, shoot, things are still like groups are still being solidified and like just all that. What's going to look like? Do you have an early favorite
for the Copa America?
Yes.
I mean, as of right now, I don't think anyone's hotter than Argentina. Argentina just beat Brazil.
I know.
In Brazil.
I know.
For World Cup qualifying. That's never happened ever. In the Maracanã. That's never happened.
It's wild. Yeah. Absolutely never. We'll see, man. We'll see. Lots to come of that, but hey, something to look forward to. But actually, I'll give you any last words before we jet on out of here, good sir.
When are you getting a tattoo?
Anyway, make sure you become a diehard, folks. It is still being
speaking of diehards.
It is still being solidified. It will be a diehard only event. Make sure to get the shirt as you see it on screen. And yeah, it'll be a diehard only event. Again, still more has to come back. I have to wait for Owen to come back. I mean, that'd just be a travesty, controversy if he was not here. There you go. Boom. Nice callback. When he gets back. So again, more to come. Our people are talking to people. Definitely not trying to weasel out of it. That won't happen. But again, become a diehard. Make it happen at PHNX locker.com to get that diehard membership. You also get a free shirt just in time for the holidays. It's a great gift. It really is. It helps supports us. You get to read all different types of things going on. Again, if you're not just a fan of Phoenix Rising, right? All fans of the teams out here in the Valley, even U of A as well. We got to mention them. But yeah, check them out. Check us out, phnxlock.com. It's a good time, but that'll do it for us here on the PHNX Rising podcast. Appreciate everyone joining us on a Monday. It's weird. I get it. But we'll be back next week. Should be our normal slated time, Tuesday at 6. Again, not tomorrow, Tuesday 6, but the following week. It's going to be a good time. Rumor has it, Owen Evans will still not be back. Yeah, so I think we're gonna have to tap
you again. Back?
My people will talk to your people, aka me talk to you. But we'll get another game of FIFA in. You can smack Snight Lackey Reese in FIFA again.
I'm undefeated in this building.
I know, don't worry. I'll change that. But yeah, appreciate everyone joining us. You can follow me on Twitter at MaxDavidSimpson. You can follow Jake on Twitter at JWA1994. You can follow Stat Like a Reese on Twitter at Reese11_. Only the one underscore. Why two? Why do you ever say it was two? Go figure. You can follow producer Danielle on Twitter at Abraca Danielle on Twitter. Oh boy, there's a lot of words. I'm tired. Here we go. It's a beautiful game. But it's way more beautiful when Phoenix Rising brings some players back that we all just absolutely adore and love watching. And we will in 2024. See you guys.
We all silly like the mayor.